gonna go back to the conversation with Amy Webb, where her Future Today strategy group actually had some incredibly easy and straightforward and practical ideas about how to execute AI into your enterprise. And she talked about 5 different things. Democratize your foundational knowledge, build a culture of experimentation, identify high-impact, low-risk use cases, which is actually what PwC just said, equip teams with tools and guardrails. This is very important. And then build something like Tiger Teams. These Tiger Teams can take these learnings and scale them out. So I'm going to go through them one by one real quick. So we talked earlier about this road to ubiquity. When we're starting to bring in these tool sets which are available to everyone, are readily available, and sometimes free because they're already in your search engine. Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, these are very inexpensive. You can also think about what DeepSeek is doing in China and what's happening with OpenAI. But the idea is that you would start to bring into your enterprise the idea of demonstrable knowledge, AI literacy. How do we get everyone in the organization to understand and to use the tools effectively? So this is a really, really important ingredient layer to be able to bring AI into your organization, is bring the literacy in and teach everybody that it exists and how you can use it. Also, the idea is that you want to make sure to bring in a culture of experimentation. Now, I really, really do not like the idea of fail fast, because I don't think that anyone likes to fail, and organizations don't like to fail. So I don't like the idea of move fast and break things. I do like the idea to move fast and learn things. So Amy Webb puts forward, and I do agree with her, that you can create safe places where any risk is very low, and so the reward can be very high. So this is very, very important to figure out sandboxes and places where AI can be used to prove its effectiveness. So this is a very important aspect of bringing AI into your enterprise. Also, the next step is, again, going back to what PwC said, find use cases that are high impact, low risk. If it's on your supply chain, if it's on the creator side, we're seeing a lot of execution on the creator side, and also I mentioned with code. Find a use case inside your organization that would be really, really effective, and you know that it will actually have high impact. And then build a pilot around that to demonstrate the value, and then socialize these results out into the organization. This is a really, really good example, and we'll play this video real quick, of Gamma. Gamma is an AI design tool that basically replaces PowerPoint. It's a very, very interesting tool. It uses ChatGPT, it uses DALL-E, it uses Gemini, it uses all the tools, and then you subscribe to the SaaS platform, and it can look at things like PowerPoint presentations, websites, and social media. Great example of a SaaS provider that's low risk, that will actually be able to impact the enterprise pretty quickly. Another really great provider that I really like is Lido. Lido takes a tremendous amount of files, PDFs, Excel documents, and then moves them into basically a CSV file. So PDF files that are locked, things that are coming off of websites, they're really, really difficult to get to. And this basically, and I've seen this work from a drop and drag perspective, very, very effective. Inexpensive, easy to use, and a high impact into the enterprise, because you're starting to see how tools like this can increase efficiency. Another thing that Amy Webb talks about at Future Today Strategy Group is the legal aspect. Very important to understand where the guardrails are in terms of intellectual property and risk. So please don't forget to bring in your legal teams and make sure that you have guardrails around what the tool set that your associates are using as we implement AI into the enterprise. And lastly, and I really like this idea of building these ideas about Tiger Teams, taking it out of the sandbox and saying, you knew about this, you did a good job, how can you socialize this back into your enterprise? So tools like Loom, if you haven't used Loom, is great. They're video clips that are AI scripted, so you can actually fast forward through them. Loom Reels are great. Using Notebook LM, using a large language model to be able to use it as a drop-in file to share those learnings. These are great AI tools to help amplify the use of AI into the enterprise. So we think about these use cases, right? There's a couple great use cases in our industry. One that is around demand planning. Demand planning for our industry has also always been a dark art. If you think about the fact that we have two different vectors that we think about how to forecast orders in the future. We think about what we did in the past in terms of seasonal sales, and then we try to figure out what's historical data. So it's basically on an A/B axis. The problem that we have in the industry is that we have a lot of excess inventory. If we have 70% sell-through, we think we're doing great. But 20 or 30% of excess inventory has to go somewhere. That leads to the waste in our industry that we all decry. I think what's super interesting is companies like Impact Analytics. Dick's Sporting Goods invested $30 million in them last year, and they're doing a tremendous amount of stuff on not just the historical data and looking backwards in time, but how can we use ambient data on the go forward to try to figure out how we get a better inventory management by location, by zip code, by holiday, by things which we are looking at ambient data which might affect our sales. So I put in here the Barbie effect. If we can anticipate that there's a movie launch that's going to affect how much pink we need to use, then I think that's really important. If we can start to think about the Ozempic effect, then we can future cast that out to be better and smarter and leaner. So using AI for probability planning, for demand planning, is going to make us more efficient. Ikigai also does a really great job here. So there are a couple of different sort of new incumbents that are able to use this data. And this is a very interesting platform because this is pretty much drop and drag. So this is basically the Wix of building a graphic model for forecast accuracy. Tremendous amount of interesting ambient data that we can put in here to get better and smarter at what we do. 6 Atomic is doing a fantastic job right now in using text to image and text to pattern generation. So we're moving from text to image to text to pattern. These are anatomically correct patterns that actually connect back to CLO so that this file can be sent to a factory and it never has to actually be made. So we're working into a sampleless and sample-less environment. When we start to use digital text to image and then text to pattern generation, we can start to lower our supply chains, time to market. Manus is actually an agent model that's actually getting a lot of attention right now. So there's someone to look at when we talk about how do we implement agents. And agents, which is another discussion, is how we can empower multiple tasks being happening at a single time in the background, and then we just get fed the result. There is some risk that we can also discuss, but it's really important to think about how we can start to use agency effectively in our industries. Lastly, this just came out last week. We're starting to see AI being put into the shopping module. So I talked about AI going into search, AI going into the office, and then AI going into shopping. So Shopify just launched their new store builder app. So this allows you, again, to drop and drag and create online stores in minutes. Years ago, before COVID, when there were virtual showrooms, you used to have to build these in gaming platforms. Now it's all drop and drag functionality. So we're starting to get AI-guided search and AI-guided shopping, and the new releases are being launched almost daily. We talked in the beginning about this and how to bring AI into your enterprise, and what we wanted to discuss is what are the facts around how it's affecting our industry, how it's affecting retail, how it's affecting consumer packaged goods, and how quickly it's moving. What are the factors that are causing this change, and how soon is it going to reach our industry? So those took the time today to define this. There's a big conversation about whether this is overhyped or underhyped. So I'm going to leave you with this. This is Eric Schmidt. He was the CEO of Google from 2011 to 2015. And here's how we talked about at a TED Talk just a few weeks ago.
It's when you're growing at the rate that we're growing, you get so much done in a year, you forget how far you went. Humans can't understand that. And we're in this situation where the exponential is moving like this. As this stuff happens quicker, you will forget what was true 2 years ago or 3 years ago. That's the key thing. So my advice to you all is ride the wave, but ride it every day. Don't view it as episodic and something you can end, but understand it and build on it. Each and every one of you has a reason to use this technology. If you're an artist, a teacher, a physician, a business person, a technical person, if you're not using this technology, you're not going to be relevant compared to your peer groups and your competitors and the people who want to be successful. Adopt it and adopt it fast.
Adopt it and adopt fast. So the AI is not overhyped, and we need to use it as a tool, and we need to be ready for it now. So thanks for your time. Here's how to get in touch with me.